Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is John with Flippin' Ain't Easy. Out in my garage working, and another episode where I'm working and I'm talking to you. One thing I wanted to say before we get on to the kind of the topic, even though this video there's really not a topic, we just talk about whatever comes to my mind here, but I do want to follow up on the video that I made, yesterday's video, that about AI. And I don't want this to be about AI. This video is not going to be focused on AI at all, but I do want to say, because it may come off as, you know, here I am saying that don't adjust your business for AI. That's what I said. And in the past, I have said that, you know, you may have to change your processes for AI. And so it's not quite the same. So if you're adjusting your business for AI, let's say the current listers that are out there, if you choose to use them, that's it. It ain't going to get any different. This is the format. This is how it looks. If they never change, then and you needed to use a lister tool, then yeah, you're going to have to change your business to accommodate that if you want to use these listers. But knowing that technology changes and something's going to come that's bigger and better, you know, may take 6 months, may take a year, but eventually there's going to be something that's going to be perfect for what you do. It might be worth holding out for that. But even then, when that lister comes out, it may require you to tweak some things to make it perfect. I mean, it may be very good, but you know, you may have to tweak some things to make it perfect. So have this part here. We're going to, this is a part I picked up and I didn't return it in time. It's an alternator. I don't know for what vehicle, it doesn't matter, but this is supposed to move freely and it's not. Anybody know why? What's causing this thing to not move? And I'm gonna have to sell this for parts of repair. Someone might be able to rebuild it, right? So I'm into it for, I think, like $7-8. So it's in great looking shape. It's probably why they returned it, because that front part it's the pulley wheel, and those things are supposed to spin freely. And yeah, maybe I'll get 20, 30, 40 bucks for it, you know. So I don't know. Someone could probably take there's a couple bolts that you pull apart and maybe there's something blocking it. I don't know. That's what I'm doing today. I'm working the second account. Normally I'd be able to return this in 7 days. I guess I sat on it too long and it's now mine. So here we are. We're making lemonade out of this part that is a lemon. So you know, it's not the $100 return I was hoping for, but I'm glad I caught it before I sold it, because you know, then I'm dealing with a return and I don't want to deal with that either. You know, that's extra cost, extra buyer upset, and I don't want that. So here we are doing my photos for it, and yeah, doing the thing. So wanted to talk about your mindset. I talk about this a lot, but I think, guys, this is the key to everything. If you don't have this down, man, it's eBay. Selling on eBay sucks. It's so much more difficult. It's not fun. When it's not fun, you're not motivated. When you're not motivated, you don't list it as much as you could. You don't get as much work done, and it's just miserable. You're like, you know, is today over with? To me, I look at the clock and it's like, damn, it's already 3 or 4 in the afternoon. You know, I keep myself so busy and focused, and I couldn't keep myself so busy and focused if I didn't have the mindset. Now, how do you develop a mindset? Well, it's kind of going back to the conversations I used to have with Grumpy John. You know, we've done a dinner a couple times with them when they come out to town, into Vegas, and you know, he's talking about, hold on, okay, talking about stop focusing on the things that have nothing to do with your business that you can't control. Yes, what eBay does definitely directly affects your business, and sometimes maybe it causes and creates you more work, but you can't control that. You're better off, if you're going to get upset about something, you're better off getting upset at maybe a process that's slowing you down. Reviewing what you have going on and say, hey, this is not working right, by the way. Got it. Okay. Reviewing what you got going on, what can you control to maybe change your mindset and stop blaming everything on eBay. Yeah, you might have, and this is going to be unpopular. I'm sorry if this is not what you want to hear, but I was on the seller forum today because sometimes I'm on there looking for what's going on. It was, what's going on in the reselling world that I'm not seeing, because sometimes you can be on eBay Island, maybe it's just for a day, and not know other than what's going on in your own business. And so I hit the reseller community boards quite often so I can, kind of keep a pulse as to what the hell's going on. And I saw a couple posts from the same person. One post was, damn you eBay, quit making all these changes. You're ruining a great place to sell. And what did that accomplish for that person? And I apologize for there's no earthquake going on. It's just me hitting the table here. I don't mean to hit the table, so be mindful of that. But it's, what did they accomplish for their business during that 5 to 10 minute period that they went on there and left that message? What did they accomplish? And I don't know why this thing keeps shaking. I apologize. I need to put it on a gimbal. I have my iPad going, see? So if it shakes a little bit, it's just the way it is. It's on a stand. I can't do a whole lot about it. Generally, I stop working so I can get in here and kind of chat with you guys anyway. It's kind of what trap I fall into. So, and I guess I'll kind of do that here because I'm losing a train of thought. This person was just actively complaining. And then you go down to 2 more posts. I don't got time to read this one. Let me go see what else they have. This guy starts complaining about something else. It's like, dude, 2 posts, you probably wasted 10 to 15 minutes, maybe longer. Maybe you're looking for, an answer on the boards. Maybe, you're just wasting time on the seller forum. And, what could you have done with your business? You could have maybe made an improvement to your business that could have saved you a little bit of frustration. I think part of it, of developing a mindset, is acceptance. We as sellers, look, you don't have to be happy with it. You don't have to be happy with the way that the website ebay.com is set up. You don't have to be happy with the policies. You don't have to be happy with the glitches. But the name of the game is acceptance. You accept it. You expect it. Then it's easier to swallow. It's easier to deal with when it happens. And it still bothers you for a very, very split second. When you have that mindset, it bothers everyone. But if you have that mindset, that split second, you're over it. You're over it. You're like, okay, looking at the big picture. So instead of having a narrow focus of, I just got $300 worth of returns today and only made $200 in sales, the math, it's a negative value. It's like, this sucks. And you could let that spill over to ruin the rest of your day, and to be like, what the hell am I doing this for? I'm just going to stop, because you're not motivated anymore, and you get absolutely nothing done. Or you can say, you know what, it's okay. I made $50,000 this year in reselling, and that's just a very, very small drop in the bucket. We're going to get it back. And then you push yourself to get going and get maybe even more done. Sort of like the video I watched from Profit First Reseller Joe. Go check his channel out, Profit First Reseller. And he went to see the doctor. They charged him $800, $700. And it's like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do to deal with that unexpected expense? And guess what? He got to work and he listed in that video over $700, $800 worth of stuff. Hold on real quick. Let me grab something here. So it just goes to show you that mind over matter. We're dealing with a lot of unexpected expenses with medical too. I'm not happy with the medical going on. Now, it has nothing to do with eBay. I don't expect eBay to provide me any kind of medical benefits. I'm not an employee of eBay, even though it feels like I'm an employee of eBay. At the end of the day, I have to understand that things are going to happen in life. And, instead of just giving up, I think sometimes the immediate reaction people have to something when something doesn't go their way is to throw in the white flag and throw in the towel and say, you know what, I'm done with reselling. I can't make it work. I push back on that. Okay. You see so many people that quit like reselling and they go back to a 9-to-5. Now, look, I've considered that in the past too. Look, about a year ago, I considered maybe taking a job locally at there's some call center jobs that came up that kind of fit my wheelhouse as far as, I feel like I'm very, very well versed in call center stuff. $75,000, $80,000 a year. Kind of in tune with what we do with reselling after all the fees and everything. And I said to myself, do I want to go back to that grind? Now, if this opportunity would have came up in 2022, I probably would have been more serious about it, because at the time we were driving Uber Eats and doing eBay to make ends meet. We made some serious changes to our business and we never looked back. But we're doing well. Some of the things that's going on or was going on with my, I don't have all my eggs in one basket. I mean, after YouTube and eBay, I do have some side business that I do with a friend, and that kind of, at least for now, it's gone. And I have to look at it as, okay, I have to prepare myself as if that's not coming back. Okay. Maybe opportunities, because, when you're a reseller and you can broker deals for merchandise with people, you got to take advantage of the opportunities that come, and don't take for granted the fact that you may not get more opportunities. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Instead of like every month this is going to happen, it's not happening at all. And that was a pretty big blow to our income. And so it really pushes me to really do more stuff on eBay and to make that work. And I'm going to make it work. But I often wonder about people who return back to a 9-to-5, and they're giving things by going back to a 9-to-5, by quitting reselling. You are giving up some things. Okay. You are giving up the power, the control you have over your happiness. Unless you really love the job you're going to, then of course, okay, I guess that's a different conversation. But I gotta say that there's many people who make that change, say, you know what, I'm not gonna deal with this. I'm just gonna go back. I'm going to work a 9-to-5 and forget this reselling stuff. But don't forget you're working for someone else. Don't forget you're on their timetable. Don't forget you only have so many sick days. Don't forget you have to ask for time off. Don't forget you're probably going to have to go in and do some commuting. I don't know where you're at, but if you're like in California, hell, even just driving to the city on a weekend is like bumper to bumper traffic. No, thank you. No, thank you. I have made it my personal goal to never have to do that again. Okay. And if we're looking at all the things that suck about reselling, our problems, our reselling problems, are minuscule, in my opinion, as compared to the problems you have as a 9-to-5 employee for someone else. If my only problem was, well, here we go again, I'm trying to list this item and eBay's kicking it out and glitching me out, and I'm going to have to come back in 30 minutes and try again, and that happens once a week, maybe twice a week, I'll take that over having to deal with bumper to bumper traffic because some idiot decided he was going to drive like a maniac, get into an accident, and now here I am, I'm going to be late for work. Okay? There is no late for work on eBay. There is no there is no need to beg anyone for anything on eBay. Like, I need time off. Okay? Take it. Take it. Go do what you got to do. The job that I worked, the call center, we required people to be accountable for their time. We called it productivity time. They had to be productive at a bare minimum of 97.2% of the time they're clocked in. So you're on your break, you're on your break. That doesn't count against that. You're on your lunch, you're on your lunch. You got a 30-minute lunch, you get 2 15-minute breaks. 8-hour shift. Really 8.5-hour shift. So you'd work 6 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., let's say. You'd have a break at 8 for 15 minutes, a lunch at 10:30, and then maybe another break at 1 o'clock. And you'd clock out at 2:30 and you're done with your day. But every moment, so 7.5 hours of that day, that period of time, you had to be accountable, actually ready to take a call 97.2% of your time, which led to it's like 5 or 6 minutes. It's not much time at all. Means if you had to get up and go to the bathroom, you better make it quick. If you had to get up and get something to drink, you better make it quick. And if you're a smoker or someone like that and you just needed to do what you got to do, and there's a number of those people who were, you better make it quick. And those conversations, people have medical problems. They couldn't get, maybe they were trying to get family leave. There's something called family leave where you have to go to a doctor and have them sign paperwork just to give you the ability to say, not to take extra time off the phone, but if you needed to leave, let's say you're halfway through your shift and whatever's happening to you that you need help with, like a medical issue, or maybe a family member at home is having a problem, you can, no questions asked, just clock out, write out that you're leaving, do family leave, and you're done, right? But you have to go through so many steps. There's no need for that on eBay, okay? No need for that on eBay. I think people, they think, they almost forget what a 9-to-5 used to be. And they come to reselling, they get so spoiled. I'll just say it, man. Get so spoiled in, wow, I get to do this, I get to do that, I can do it whenever I want, I can work late at night, I can work early in the morning, I can sleep in. We get so used to that. And then when we fail at reselling, because instead of taking it by the horns, this opportunity by the horns, and saying, you know what, I'm going to really make reselling work. I'm not going back to a 9-to-5. And if that means I'm working initially 10 to sometimes 16 hours on some days, not all, but on some days, then man, but it's my business. This is my success. I don't have to share a dime with anybody. I don't have to answer to anyone. And for some, that doesn't motivate people. That motivated the hell out of me. And I think as we do this, right, we initially appreciate, like, wow, I don't have to go to work today. I don't have to drive to work today. I don't feel well. I don't have to call in. I don't have to pretend like I'm sick so I can go and hang out with a friend, like to feel better. Like I don't have any vacation days, so I have a sick day, I can pretend that I'm sick. All these little games, you don't have to play. But what happens is, for some, you become complacent because you don't have people pushing you. See, a boss is useful for some people. Some people don't need a boss. A boss is useful because you are accountable to that person. So you have to answer to someone, and the fear of having to have that conversation or to feel bad about your performance, it just motivates you to say, I guess I'll go into work today, or I'll just, I'm not feeling well, but I'm just gonna just push through. Okay. With reselling, unless your partner, your significant other, are the ones that are holding you accountable, like, are we paying the rent this month? What are you doing? Like, are you not working? If you have someone like that to keep you accountable, I guess. But really, for the rest of us, we got to keep ourselves accountable. We don't have that boss here. This is it. eBay's not our boss. eBay could care less if you listed another item on their platform, because there's always going to be someone that's going to step up who'll take that spot. I think we take for granted, I really do think that as sellers on this platform, we take for granted the fact that we don't have all these problems that 9-to-5 employees have. Heck, you might be a 9-to-5 employee doing the eBay thing, and you know that what part of your day is easier. Going doing the commute. Your 9-to-5 is really not a 9-to-5. Your 9-to-5 is like a 7:30 to 6. Okay, it's like a 12-hour gig, and then whatever time you have left to spend with friends and family, you might have a couple hours a day to do eBay, and then you sit down and do eBay and go, man, if I can only do this full time and make it work, I wouldn't have to deal with this other crap that I have to deal with to be away from family, and I can make my own schedule. But I think as full-timers, we get so far removed from the 9-to-5 world that we take it for granted. And then we say to ourselves, my items aren't selling, I'll just go back to a 9-to-5. You're forgetting all the crap that you had to put up with. Instead of making the changes you need, this is what I talk about on this channel. Why is it that people are so hell-bent on, if I can't make reselling work for this thing that I like to sell, then I don't want to resell? I mean, as an example, in all fairness, we've had a conversation about this on the Profit Playbook podcast, Josh and I. And he said, look, if I can't sell these things that I like to sell, I ain't not going to sell electronics. And even when he was having a hard time selling the things he liked to sell, he actually did go back for a short period of time to a 9-to-5, and he was miserable. Okay? You tend to forget the things that pushed you away from the 9-to-5 world to begin with. Now, look, I ran my own departments. I didn't dislike the 9-to-5 world per se. I was forced out of it because they closed our office. They said, and a lot of you guys already know the story, but they came to us with 60 days notice and said, look, you can either step down from management. This is the conversation they had with all supervisors in this office, including myself. You could step down from management, take this stipend of money, I think it was like $5,000, move, find a place. You got 60 days to figure it out. Find a place on the East Coast in the Philadelphia area, and step down from management, exercise your seniority, and there's no promises being made. You find a job, we'll make some available for you. You can in the seniority world, you can bump somebody, meaning if you have more seniority to that person, you can displace them from their shift, and then they, because you have more seniority than them. And that would be the process I would have had to have done. And knowing nobody out there except for the other people that are moving, it was either that or take a 6-month severance package and say, see ya. You have no more affiliation with Amtrak. And Jenna had, she was not management, but they offered a smaller severance package for those who were just regular employees there. And we initially were looking at making the move, and we said, I think the cold weather scared Jen off, but I'm like, I don't know anybody there, but it's, to me, a slap in the face that here I am, a 2-time award winner, a nationwide award winner in management, being asked to step out of management. It just doesn't seem like a smart move by them. But we took the package and we never looked back. All the problems didn't drive me away from the 9 to 5, but it's the problems that kept me from wanting to go back. It's, look what I have now as compared to what will I have when I go back. And I don't want to put up with that anymore. I'm 51 years old. I don't want to deal with that anymore. I don't know about you. Hell, after 30, I didn't want to deal with that anymore. I found a way to make lemonade out of lemons, and got myself in a position where I can become be in management and really excel with management. I can tell you, 10 years ago, about 10 years ago, I was looking at, like, wow, I have a very, very good career. I was getting my first award on a nationwide basis 10 years ago. I was in Washington, D.C., being presented an award from the president of the company at a banquet. And I was seeing myself by now, 2025, being in corporate somewhere, and really moving up the ladder. I didn't see myself as a reseller 5 years into a YouTube eBay channel and making, as much, if not more, than more actually now, than what I made in that role. And I just don't understand how people can give up so quick to go back to starting over. It's starting over. I mean, it's not like I'm going to quit reselling and I'm just going to resume where I left off 5 years ago. Sometimes some of us are like myself. I'm so far removed from the corporate world. I'm so far removed from the job market that even if I strolled into an interview with those 2 awards that I have and all the letters of commendation that I have in my filing cabinet, and the resume that I'd have to update. I did put together a resume when I was told we were going to have to make a decision. So I did polish up my resume a little bit, but I go marching into a place with that, they're going to be like, what the hell did you do with yourself for the last 6 years? And if I say I sold on eBay, I mean, it's like I'm probably going to get the same reaction that you get when people ask you what you do for a living. What do you do for a living? I sell online. They're going to look at you like you don't have any money, or you're just poor and broke. People don't understand. People make fun of resellers. I had a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine. We had a mutual acquaintance. I don't even want to call him a friend. Just happened to be around him every so often because of my friend was friends with him. And one day he said something just really shitty about, what I do. Good luck selling those Nikes for a living, right? And I thought, man, that's shitty. That was kind of offensive. It's like, I don't even sell Nikes, by the way, for the most part. Just goes to show you what I sell, that you don't know much about what I do. And then, talking about coming full circle, about 4 years later, Jenna is on TikTok, and she gets this thing that pops up from like TikTok shop or whatever. And him and his wife were selling purses on TikTok. And I'm like, all right, talking about rich right here. This dude made a point to put me down for being a reseller. And here he is asking people on an online live to buy their purses. Thought that was a bit rich. They're pretty laughable. No, I'm not laughing. Look, I always support resellers. I support resellers, but it's like, you learned, yeah, that person had to learn eventually that reselling ain't that bad. It ain't that bad. You can make a good living at reselling if you change your mindset. Stop making eBay the enemy. Understand that you're dealing with a very, it's a very lacking. The site lacks a lot of things that we'd like. They do things bass backwards sometimes. And if you know that, then when it happens like every 2 weeks, then you shouldn't be surprised when you see it. You just expect it and build it into your mindset. No different than knowing that next return you're going to get at some point, and it sucks, but you just deal with it and you write it off in your mind as it's the cost of doing business. Dealing with eBay problems is the cost of doing business on eBay. And for me, as long as they continue to bring in the traffic and the sales continue to come, I have no reason to leave. I have no reason to leave, but eBay is not responsible for my success with making the sales or not. They're only there to show traffic. It's my job. It's my responsibility to myself, my family, and for whatever the hell I'm doing this for, to find the right things to sell. And in many cases, it's not things that I like to sell. And the moment, and I'm not telling everyone to become everything sellers. I'm saying to everyone out there, you have to figure out what works for you. You have to weigh whether or not you would rather work 9 to 5 or do this gig. And then you put your best foot forward on the decision you plan on making. And if that decision involves eBay, then you got to change your mindset. This thing of I can make my own schedule. I can just sleep in. I can do whatever I want. Apologize for that. You can. But if you really want to be successful, that has to be the exception rather than the rule. And I guess figuring all that out is yet another example of how flipping ain't easy. I want you guys to have an excellent rest of your day. We will talk to you here very soon.
Oh. Chargebacks, returns, and lowball offers too. Vero takedowns, they're a pain, what can we do? High selling fees, bad buys, and rude buyers galore. Flipping ain't easy, but we keep coming back for more. All resellers are gonna make mistakes. Learn from them, and you'll have what it takes. In the world of reselling, we're your guide. When flipping ain't easy, by your side. Sourcing great items is the key to success. Subscribe to the channel and stand above the rest. Focus on the thing that's within your control. Hang with flipping ain't easy. Let's roll. Catch the live streams on Mondays and Fridays. Join the Discord community for the parlays. Tune into the podcast Profit Playbooks. The name with Scott and Josh. Flipping's more than a game. Chargebacks, returns, and lowball offers too. A Fero takedowns, they're a pain, what can we do? High selling fees, bad buys, and rude buyers galore. Flipping ain't easy, but we keep coming back for more. Oh, all resellers are gonna make mistakes. Learn from them, and you'll have what it takes. In the world of reselling, we're your guide. Flipping ain't easy, but by your side. Sourcing great items is the key to success. Subscribe to the channel and stand above the rest. Focus on the thing that's within your control. Hang with flipping ain't easy. Let's roll. Catch the live streams on Mondays and Fridays. Join the Discord community for the parlays. Tune into the podcast, Profit Playbook's the name. With Scott and Josh, flipping's more than a game. Catch the live streams on Mondays and Fridays. Join the Discord community for the parlays. Tune into the podcast, Profit Playbook's the name. With Scott and Josh, flipping's more than a game.